Mae Thomas was the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs in May this year when a fire destroyed the Mahdia Secondary School dormitory, claiming the lives of 20 children. According to her, during her 3-year tenure, the ministry was never informed of the deficiencies and absence of key firefighting tools at the Mahdia Fire Station in Region 8. She said if these issues were brought to her attention, steps would have been taken to rectify them.
Does the fire service, the chief fire officer, does he have the scope to insist when a budget is presented that certain equipment are priority, is given priority in terms of funding? Because I mean, it's submitted, the ministry could very well say, okay, we're not going to provide you with this, we're not going to fund this. But does the fire chief have the leverage to insist that certain tools of trade are essential and therefore it should be funded, it must be funded?
Definitely. The fire chief, at his representation at our internal ministry meetings, where we would have the back and forth, where we will argue at times. Once you can justify that there is need for this, once you show us that your SOPs requires this, there was no way that the permanent secretary nor the Minister of Home Affairs would have said to reduce this. We would most likely, I would like to say that we all know, you probably up your budget to the Ministry of Finance and allow them to reduce you. That was always the system too. So to answer your question, each agency, in this particular case again, the fire chief, they have to tell us what is required of their agency. And once it is there and they defend it, we will take it to the Ministry of Finance and we will defend it at the end of the Parliament.
Thomas testified under oath before the ongoing Presidential Commission of Inquiry. Her appearance was in response to a summons which was issued by the Commission last Friday. Thomas' testimony appeared to be in response to Fire Chief Acting Gregory Wickham and the officer in charge of the Mahdia Fire Station, Ryan Scott, who both testified earlier that they faced lack of human and technical resources at the facility, which prevented their effective response to the tragedy.
So if the head of an agency receives a particular request, let us say from a fire station, that they desperately require certain items, that particular chief does not have to wait until the new year to bring that to the attention of the ministry. I'm asking.
Correct, ma'am. Repeatedly for the 3 years, that discussion, as we would always have a first-hand approach with our minister and regular discussions, whatever any of the agencies were lacking under the Ministry of Home Affairs, in this particular case again, the Guyana Fire Service, and there was need for it, and some he would have imposed and he would say that this is what they need. Saying that we don't have funds was only one way out.
Months before the fire, an inspection was conducted at the dormitory, after which a number of recommendations were made for actions to be taken, including the installation of fire safety and prevention mechanisms. This report, according to the officer in charge of the Mahdia Fire Station, was submitted to his superior, but little to no action was taken.
So Officer Scott, I'd like to say, did do his job in terms of bringing to the fire service attention at their level what is needed for him to carry that region single-handedly. When I say single-handedly, many times in our planning at the ministry with the guidance of the minister, you will have example on East Bank and the East Coast or Georgetown, where if it happens here, there are about 6 locations can come only from Georgetown. Like you pull Lower East Bank and Lower East Coast if it gets out of great control. I mean, being Mahdia and being a very isolated remote area to an extent, he tried to have us equip him with anything because it would take us time to get to him. So they would probably take a lot of measures about to solve their issues. However, again, the head office would have depended upon the agency to bring to our attention, we need this.
Thomas said priority is given to remote areas such as Mahdia. According to Thomas, it is the chief fire officer's responsibility to ensure challenges being faced at the fire stations are addressed. Reporting for the newsroom, Sharda Bacchus.